Hey guys, I'm so excited. Today I'm gonna make some teriyaki sauce from scratch. We're gonna cook up some beef, some cauliflower and fried rice. We're gonna throw in some egg in there. Oh, it's gonna be delicious. Alright, so I have a pound of ribeye, approximately, that we're going to use for this. Oh, that is pretty thick. That's a huge cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and salt this. Kind of a big piece, so I'm gonna do kind of a little bit here, some salt. Ooh, just salt for right now. Huge chunks. So we're gonna go ahead and just try to, I'm just cutting straight down on this guy. I'm doing about 1/2 inch cuts, approximately. Got all that fat. And we are cooking with all of that. Alright, those look super good. Now we're gonna cut them up again. I'm gonna cube these. Well, maybe not cube so much as like thinly slice. So we're gonna have a bowl here where we're gonna go ahead and put all our cut meat. Okay, meat's all cut up. And now we're gonna get to the next step. Alright, so I am gonna use a shallot, about 1/2 a size though, a little small onion. Now I know onions are a little crazy with keto, but to keep in mind, about 100 grams of a shallot is, I think, roughly 17 grams of carbs, but not net because there's some fiber, so it comes down. Basically I use half. I use about 50 grams, and that'll be about 7 net carbs for this. However, this is going to be more than 1 serving, so we'll break this down once we're done. But anyway, so I just like to take one and I cut inward, and then I cut inward again, but like on a downward angle. And then I just kind of like make little slits most of the way through. So we have 2 angles cut, and then these just kind of fall nice apart, minus a couple pieces, which we can just trim down. So you can see that's quite a bit, but it's going to be divided. You could probably even get away with 1/2 of that. So we'll see. Maybe I'll only use 1/2, which is about 25 grams of carbs, or 25 grams like weight, which would be like 3. Yeah, so if we use 1/2 of this, that's approximately 3 grams of total carbs, and that's going to be divided by a few servings for the meal. So maybe we'll do 1/2. Now we're just going to get a little bit of green onion, try to also make these pretty thin. So we're gonna just put these in a container. And again, I just try to thinly slice. Now with the garlic, I like to take a little bit of salt, put on top of it. Once it's diced, and just kind of mush it in together. Okay, so now I'm gonna make my sauce. So the first thing I like to do is about a teaspoon or so of some fresh ginger. I use a spoon to kind of shave it down first, and then I'll just go ahead and grate this down into a bowl. Next, I'm gonna use a cup and a quarter of this liquid coconut aminos. So this is gonna be our base. So we're gonna do a cup and a quarter roughly. So we're gonna go ahead and pour that in here. Next, we're gonna add half of our garlic. Okay, now I like to do apple cider vinegar, but I use about 9 tablespoons roughly. So we're gonna use some sweetener. I like to do a whole tablespoon, but you can do half if you'd like. Alright, so we've got our stove up on pretty high heat. We're going to pour all our contents in to our pan. I'm going to shake in just a little more sweetener because some of it's stuck in my container. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of whisk this in for a moment and put our lid on and try to get this up to simmer and keep lidded for 3 to 5 minutes. Alright, now that this has been simmering, we're going to go ahead and check this out. Now we're going to add our xanthan gum, but I like to add it slowly because this is going to thicken pretty quick, and then we're going to take it off the heat. So we're just going to kind of whisk and just kind of tap some in as we go. Like I said, I'm going slow and constantly stirring. Alright, so this has thickened up pretty good. Now I think it's about time we take it off of the heat. We're going to let this cool down quite substantially before we use it. So let's go ahead and set that aside for now. Okay, so while I have my sauce simmering for a moment, I'm going to go ahead and kind of marinate our meat. I use some rice vinegar and some Worcestershire sauce. Now, I don't do too much, just a couple of splashes in there. And we don't want to use too much. Okay, so with rice vinegar and Worcestershire, we just kind of mix this around. Now I'm going to go ahead and let that sit in the refrigerator for about an hour. Alright, so with the leftover garlic, we're just going to go ahead and throw that in with our veggies here. And we're going to save this for a bit later. We're going to go ahead and saute all these up when we're ready. Alright, so I've scrambled up 2 eggs. I boiled and blanched some broccoli. Our sauce is done and has cooled, and our meat is done being marinated. Right now I have the garlic and onions sauteing here in a pan. We're not going to cook this too long, and then we'll go ahead and remove and set this aside. Now I'm going to grab a couple of tablespoons of butter as well, and we're going to use this for our fried cauliflower rice. And I'm going to cook the whole package, even though the whole package is 3 servings, and that comes to about 15 grams of carbs. But we're not. This is way more than 1 serving. All right, so my eggs are done. I basically try to smash them up a whole bunch, and then I'm gonna toss them into our sauteed garlic and onion. And we can let that sit for a little bit, that's fine. Now we're gonna go ahead and start the cauliflower rice, and we're gonna start our steak. For the steak, I'm actually gonna use my air fryer for about 5-10 minutes. That steak's gonna go real quick. So I'm gonna get both of these ready, and then we'll be right back. So like I said, I just throw all the meat in my air fryer, and we're gonna let that cook for about 10 minutes. Alright, so I just threw this in, a couple tablespoons of butter. We're gonna go real high heat, and we're just gonna cook this up, get it nice and brown, stir it for a few, then I'll be right back. Okay, so now our rice is just almost done. I like to add a little bit of toasted sesame oil in here. Not too much, just a little bit for flavor. So you gotta be a little careful when pouring. You could just measure it out, but I'm gonna do a couple of dabs in here, and we'll slide this around. Okay, now we're gonna go take our eggs, garlic, and shallots. We're gonna just mix this all in here. Get it all in, and give it a good stir, mix it around thoroughly, and we'll cook for about another minute or two. Alright, so our rice is done. Threw our broccoli back in there and stirred it all in, so this is good to go, and our meat is done. So we're gonna go ahead and plate this. I'm gonna grab a nice chunk here. Okay. Now our meat, perfect. So we're just gonna grab, well, I don't know how much I want to eat, but we'll grab a good amount. I think that's good for me. And we have so much more. Then I like to take a spoon and drizzle our teriyaki. It's nice and thick. Get some of that garlic in here, ginger. Whoop, kind of made a mess. I was gonna make it kind of pretty, but then I like to top it with a little crushed red pepper. You don't have to. I just like a little spice in mine. I was actually gonna use some sesame seeds as well, but I don't have any, and I didn't feel like going to the store. Anyway, there it is. Alright, and that's it, guys. So just to get a better close look here, we're gonna come on in. And like I said, this would serve about 4 people, and it's about 5 to 6 net carbs per serving. Alright guys, and that's going to be it for today. So please give me a thanks, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I just had to. That was so good. So good, guys.